I believe a lot of things may be misread as a lack of interest when, in fact, she could be interested in you. Perhaps she's simply timid, or perhaps she's waiting for you to initiate contact before she expresses her interest in you. These are just a few instances. There are many possible causes. Perhaps you also struggle with body language, gestures, and other similar readings. All in all, however, I believe the topics I will be discussing today are rather simple. The truth is that you can never have a healthy relationship with someone who engages in these behaviors on a regular basis. Firstly, the excuse "I'm busy" is one she keeps using. It's common to have responsibilities and other priorities in life, so it's not what I'm talking about when I say that you should expect someone to be accessible to you all the time to hang out. She's simply not interested if she keeps saying things like, "I can't," "I'm busy," or "Sorry, I haven't messaged you back all week, I've been busy." Too busy to return your texts, too busy to organize a meeting for a week from now, too busy to hang out with you, even though you've tried to set one up 3 times already, etc. Even the busiest individuals on the planet find time for the things that are important to them and that they consider to be priorities. She's probably not that interested in you, or at least not at a point where she can be in a healthy relationship if she's not ready or able to do that. A female won't constantly create reasons not to want to get out with you if she likes you. Now, if this just occurs once and she is really busy, things will be quite different. However, I believe it's best to move on if this is a regular occurrence and she's simply playing you or giving you a sliver of hope that one day she'll be free to hang out. When a lady decides she is not interested in you, she will next go into ghost mode. Although this one should go without saying, let me emphasize it anyway. She just doesn't like you if she is ghosting you or is leaving you on read. Many males, in my opinion, misinterpret ghost mode as a request to pursue her more, to try even harder than they have been, to attempt to convince her to alter her mind, or to text her more, even if she hasn't been replying to you. Although I respect a guy who is tenacious and goes for his goals, this is not the moment or setting in which I would advise doing so. It is unhealthy for a person to respond slowly or incoherently while trying to build a real relationship. Allow me to emphasize this for you. A reaction is never a lack of response. Consider that one. Give it time to register. Again, when someone isn't providing anything to us, we don't need to strive harder. We don't need to attempt to convince them otherwise. We don't need to buy them anything, and we don't need to reach out to them more. Accept it as true that she has no interest. Go someplace else and put your focus and energy into someone who is. Once again, silence is communication, and it makes it clear to the other person where you stand. When a woman is not interested, she will usually end the date early. There are a lot of things that might happen on a date that indicate she's not interested, but because we're all unique, it's difficult to tell for sure. But one thing that is nearly always indicative of indifference is when she ends the date early or makes up a reason to go. Again, giving opportunity for some subtlety here since we cannot determine for sure. I believe you'll be able to tell whether she's really sick or if she had an emergency that required her to depart early by her behavior after the incident. I believe it's very simple to tell if it was actually something she had to go for, and it wasn't simply her cutting the date short, because she's not interested if she gets in touch with you later and attempts to reschedule or anything similar. The post-mortem communication will be rather instructive, in my opinion. She's not interested, however, if she leaves the date early and starts acting eerily toward you. And let me just say this to you guys. I can't think of a single instance when a lady ended a date early with someone in whom she showed true interest. Whenever I have heard of a lady acting in this way, it's always been because she had lost interest and didn't want to be there. There are a lot of reasons to end a date early. It's possible that she is uncomfortable with you, the discussion, or the absence of it. Perhaps she's not interested in you, which is why she's disengaged or just plain not interested in carrying on the conversation. To be clear, I believe this is really impolite. If someone quits the date because they're not interested, I would expect them to tell you about it, either during the date or, if they're a bit less aggressive, after. However, once again, I believe that if you agree to go on a date with someone, you need to attempt to have fun and act like a nice, courteous person. You know, I've heard tales from both sexes of people who would abruptly end a date or tell you, "I'm not interested, I want to leave." And it is, in my opinion, disrespectful. Well, at least they're not wasting my time. will probably cross some people's minds. That's one way of looking at it, for sure, but I think it's a little impolite. And it would be so much better if we could all just be straight up and honest about how we're feeling. However, I believe that a lot of individuals would invent an explanation and a cause to go when they are only uninterested in you. Again, I believe that the post-mortem communication will be quite informative in determining whether or not it was legitimate. I'm sure you guys had different experiences, but generally speaking, I'd say that if she ends a date early, it's simply because she's not interested. The next is fairly self-explanatory. She says no to a second date. Now, it's fair to infer she's definitely not interested if you ask her out on a second date, and she responds with any of the following. No, I don't think so. You're a great guy, but I'll let you know. Let me think about it. Or, let me think about it. Albeit she doesn't mean to be sarcastic. Remember that I could envision a female saying this in a light, flirtatious manner and really being into you. However, I believe that for many of you, it would be rather clear to distinguish between her being flirtatious and amusing and her genuine lack of interest. However, this might also be perplexing since, as I said earlier, I know that many of you struggle to read people's body language or really comprehend their tones and other nonverbal cues. I could thus see where this might get a little muddy in the water. Generally speaking, however, she's not interested if she politely refuses a second date with you. Additionally, it might be difficult to tell whether someone is being humorous or sarcastic via text when you can't hear their voice. I'm not exactly sure whether they would add an emoji. However, once again, it will usually be rather clear whether someone is only flirting or being fun, rather than really denying a second date. Furthermore, the subsequent conspiracies will also reveal a lot. I'm going to presume she's not interested if she turns down a second date, and you don't hear from her thereafter. Alright, and I also wanted to mention that, regrettably, I see this a lot online. Please don't let your ego get the better of you, and say something really stupid if she denies a second date. My pals have previously showed me messages in which they have respectfully and honestly denied a second date. The guy's answer just served to confirm their determination to never go out with them again. It's an unflattering appearance, and I hope none of you end up like that person. Furthermore, keep in mind that even if someone is a decent person, they could not be a good fit for you or compatible. That's an extremely useful and crucial thing to keep in mind. While dating, in my opinion, you will not win over everyone, and that's all right. You should accept that not everyone will want to go on another date with you. So please, men, just don't attempt to make them alter their mind. Keep texting them nonstop. Follow them. Prove to them that they're wrong. Or say hurtful things like, well, I wasn't interested in you anyway. Or you're ugly anyway. The best course of action is to just accept it and realize that not everyone is a good fit for you. In conclusion, she will agree to a second date if she finds you attractive. She'll want to visit you once more. She's not interested if she's telling you that she doesn't want to see you again. And I'm aware that many of you will find that one to be rather simple, to the point where you say, oh, I already knew that. Fantastic. However, I am aware that not everyone finds it easy, based on inquiries I've received from some of you, mails, direct messages, and texts I've seen with my own eyes. Thus, I believe it's important to keep in mind that everyone needs to start somewhere. Each of us has unique foundational knowledge. You should never assume that anything that seems obvious and common sense to you will be the same for someone else. So just remember that. The next action a woman will do when she loses interest is to consistently withdraw or cancel. Now, the same logic that applies to her persistently canceling or flaking on dates that she has already promised to go on applies here. Much like the too busy justification that I discussed earlier in the video. You know, we can be understanding when we have to cancel due to unforeseen circumstances. However, if this is occurring consistently, we must stop providing our grace period. Honestly, folks, I want you to know that this isn't what you deserve. Making promises to you and then not following through is not a sign of a trustworthy person. An emotionally mature person who shows interest in you won't constantly back out or cancel on you. It's impolite, and would seem to me that this individual has no regard for me or my time. Next, you're not a pen friend, so you may go on if someone doesn't want to continue the conversation and get to know you in person. That is my list of 5 things women will do if they are not interested in you, gentlemen. If you like this video or thought it was useful, Please let me know in the comments below. To be informed when I upload new stuff, be sure to subscribe to my channel and give it a thumbs up to perhaps assist some other guys. If you're willing, I would love to hear about your own experiences and tales in the comments section.